Hi everyone, it's Kaiser Ryu here. In an age where most people play all their games digitally, losing these titles forever is a real concern for preservation if said game isn't released on a DRM-free storefront like GOG. Even games that have physical copies can be borderline lost media if they're insanely expensive or just haven't been re-released in decades. I'm going to go over 8 fascinating games that are borderline lost media, if not completely lost media, ranking them from most to least preserved. Let's get into it, and make sure to like and subscribe for more lists like these. First off is probably the most important horror game ever made, Capcom's Sweet Home. The predecessor to Resident Evil, Sweet Home is an RPG packed with tons of survival horror systems that would later become genre staples. It's ungodly important to the video game industry as a whole, but Capcom has yet to re-release this game since its 1989 debut. This is probably because of licensing issues, since Sweet Home is based off a Japanese horror film. Still, it should get re-released with a new English translation, given how important it is to the horror genre. Without emulation and fan translations, this game would be completely lost to time. Let's hope that limited run games through the Carbon engine can make a re-release finally happen for this massively influential and important horror title. Next up is a bit of an oddball, and that's Hitman Sniper Challenge. It's not really a full game, but it is a separate game app from Hitman Absolution, so I'm counting it. The very first iteration of the stellar sniper mode that would later be used in Hitman World of Assassination, Hitman Sniper Challenge is frankly better than the core game Absolution. Yes, it's short with only one map, but like Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, there's a ton of content, fun, and replay value here for this small game. There's a crap ton of Easter eggs to find and challenges to accomplish, making for a great pre-order bonus to hold fans over. Yes, Hitman Sniper Challenge was originally a Hitman Absolution pre-order bonus. On consoles, you could also get a code through the Hitman HD Trilogy Limited Edition, which is how I redeemed my code on Xbox a few years ago. Sniper Challenge is backwards compatible on newer Xbox consoles, and it's an absolute blast. I know Sniper Challenge was at one point bundled with Hitman Absolution on Steam, but I cannot verify if that's still the case today. The current Steam page doesn't mention Sniper Challenge at all. Nevertheless, I'm sure through piracy you can still get it on PC, but officially, this is Hitman Lost Media, and it's a damn shame. I can make a whole list about arcade games being lost to time, but I have one that's also on console. House of the Dead 4 Special. Not regular House of the Dead 4, which you can still find in many arcades today, but its special variant. House of the Dead 4 Special was basically a full-on attraction, with a spinning seat, 2 screens, and yes, a line to get in. All physical units made are now either broken down, sold off, or placed in an unknown location, so the only way to play it today is through the PS3 version. It's a phenomenal port that plays great with the PlayStation Move, but it's digital only. Who knows how much longer the PS3 store remains online, given that the Xbox 360 already shut down its marketplace last year. When the PS3 store shuts down, House of the Dead 4 Special will be lost media completely, which sucks. It's a solid addition to the franchise, marking the return of G and the Magician, and it's a great short 2-level experience. One of the most critically acclaimed Xbox Live Arcade games of all time is Trials Evolution, and for good reason. It took Trials HD and appropriately evolved the formula, taking the platforming outside of the warehouse for the first time in 3D. The physics were great, the levels were stellar, and what people created in Track Central were unbelievable. People created tracks that were entirely different genres, plus the DLC maps were phenomenal as well. Sadly, the complete Trials Evolution experience with both DLC packs is lost media now. The Trials Evolution core game and both DLC packs were delisted from the Xbox marketplace many years ago. Even when Trials Evo became backwards compatible on newer Xbox consoles in 2019, it was already delisted, so only people who bought the full game and DLCs already could install and enjoy this platforming masterpiece on their Xbox One or eventually Xbox Series X/S. That's awesome Microsoft added Trials Evo to the backwards compatibility program, but it does sting that newer fans or people who play on PlayStation can't experience the full game anymore. Yes, I know Trials Evo is on Steam, but it only contains the core game. None of the DLC content is found in the Steam port, and to boot, Trials Evolution doesn't even run properly through Xenia emulation, so you can't even go that route. I guess that makes sense why Trials Evo took so damn long to be added to newer consoles because of the technical issues Xbox faced. Trials Evolution is a masterpiece of a platformer that even introduced a 100-year Easter egg hunt that still mystifies me to this day. And while I can still play it on my current or future Xbox consoles, it sucks that new fans or people getting into Trials can no longer play it. One of the most iconic sports games of all time has to be NBA Jam, and in 2010 it got the reboot treatment courtesy of EA Sports. I can still play this game through physical copies, but that can't be said about the improved and enhanced On Fire edition. A digital-only title on Xbox 360 and PS3, NBA Jam On Fire edition was a remastered and refined version of the 2010 game similar to Ninja Gaiden Black. The game's backwards compatible on newer Xbox consoles, unlike the original 2010 title, but similar to many sports games, it got delisted many years ago. Considering the original 2010 game is still preserved through physical copies, this is immensely frustrating. Imagine Ninja Gaiden Black being a digital-only title, only to get delisted, and we're stuck with just NGO4. That would be a crying shame, and I'm so bummed out I can no longer buy or even play this game anymore. There are a couple of Doom ports that have become lost media, and the most obscure has to be the digital-only Doom Classic Complete for the PS3. Released in 2012, this was the very first time the full Final Doom experience could be played on console, and yes, I owned it back then and still have it installed on my PS3. This was a great port, having all 6 official Doom campaigns at the time, but there were some odd hiccups. The music in TNT Evolution suffers the same slowdown issue of prior ports, and it's awful. Just listen. Yeah, that's really bad. And in the master levels, you actually play a continuous campaign of all the maps instead of pistol starting everything. For some reason, if you take the secret exit and express elevator to hell, it restarts the level instead of taking you to Bad Dream. You get to Bad Dream by taking the regular exit, and there's a few other quirks. I actually lended my PS3 over to Derek from Stop Skeletons from Fighting about a year ago to get coverage for a Doom delisted video he's making, so watch out for that if you want more details. Nevertheless, Doom Classic Complete is a fascinating Doom console port that's lost to time. Fire Pro Wrestling is an acclaimed Japanese wrestling game series, noted for its deep technical gameplay despite its often lacking visuals. Well, in 2012, Xbox Game Studios themselves published an Xbox 360 exclusive Fire Pro Wrestling game simply titled Fire Pro Wrestling. I bought this game shortly before the Xbox 360 marketplace shut down, and it's crazy. This title has to be the Xbox 360 game that most uses the avatar feature, with a controlled wrestler being your avatar, and even avatar props appear in your entrances. It's wacky good fun because of that, playing as Darth Vader or Ghostface, but it's understandable why this game got such poor review scores. It was fun for a short bit, but there's not much depth to the gameplay here that the series is known for, and I can imagine the title getting old rather quickly. Still, it's a fascinating piece of history for this acclaimed wrestling series, and even if it's a bad game, it should still be preserved. However, with it being an Xbox 360 digital-only title, it's lost media now. My final game is not only lost media, but has been lost media for around a decade at this point, and that's 3D Ultra MiniGolf Adventures 2, the Xbox 360 sequel to one of, if not the best minigolf game ever made. Adventures 2 looks to be a solid sequel, retaining the high fun factor, but not as good as the original. MiniGolf Adventures 2 was from the old era of Xbox 360, meaning delisted games were hard delisted. You couldn't even uninstall them from the hard drive without losing access to the game. MiniGolf Adventures 1 is still available for purchase through Xbox backwards compatibility, and it sucks that Adventures 2 has now become lost media. Watching old Achievement Hunter Let's Plays of this game makes it look like a wildly fun time, and with it being hard delisted for so long, it has to be the biggest lost media game out of my pile. I'll see you later.